So then I was alone. I had no friends and no family, no acquaintances. I just had my 4 white walls and the forest and my voice. And because I can be somewhat antisocial, and because I had a lot of work ahead of me anyways, I just decided to give myself up entirely to isolation. With only my thoughts to keep me company, I had the horrible pleasure of facing a deep and familiar fear. That one of eternal failure. And this sort of failure, it reeks of death, it stinks of it. And at that time, I could feel its breath on my shoulder. It was near and it was waiting for me to slip, to make a little slip up, to lose my shit and go bananas. And the scariest thing about this failure, this beast in the woods as I like to imagine it, it could just fuck you at any given moment. When I made the switch, I was filled with this deep regret for all the work I had not done, because Jesus Christ, have I wasted all this time? And I felt fucking physical and mental nausea. I felt really nauseous with how much work there was left to go, because, well, I felt so behind. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bit too old. I feel like I know I'm young, but I'm just not living life to the time. And unlike writing, right, I could do it well enough once I decided to take it seriously, but art, God no. As you will well see later on when I show you my progress, I started from 0, negative numbers even. I was just absolutely terrible. I just did not have a natural talent for it, I don't think. My physical act of drawing was just mind-boggling. I started overthinking and I began to visualize, and because I was alone with my thoughts, right, I began to so clearly visualize a bad ending. Visualize, yeah. And with that, because it scared me to fuck, but also inspired me to move. And I just said to myself one day, just do. And then life turned into some absurd sort of chase. And this was a miraculous discovery for me. I turned my sadness into anger. And there is a lot of fucking energy in anger, and after being so miserable and stuck for so long, I liked suddenly having an energy, even if it was kind of angry and somewhat negative. It got me moving, and I know that movement is the first step to, getting better. I started to fill the air with my words, and I'd actually scrutinize myself to the very last detail, and I'd always call myself a fool and a stupid fucking loser, but it felt kind of funny to say these things out loud to myself. Like, you can think it, but when you say it, it sounds a bit absurd, and life really became quite strange at that point. So I began drawing, and this anger sort of inspired in me a vengeance. Weirdly enough, it was this anger that pushed my work ethic to new heights. Anyways, it's been a year and a bit, since I decided that today was the day I'm going to become an artist. So it's time to show you my progress. Alright, so my work is all over the place. unfortunately, I can't find some of the first ones that I did, and that's probably because I destroyed them in a silly tantrum or a rage. So, anyways, so the first few weeks of serious study felt like life and death. I tormented myself over the quality of my work, which is fucking hilarious because, come on, look at it. It's fucking dog shit. And to think that these funky ass drawings drove me bonkers is quite funny. Quite funny now. It was horrible then, but it was all really quite stupid. But this is because in the beginning, drawing was a work thing and not a play thing. I was so behind, and in my sudden and anxious haste, I committed my first mistake. Congrats. I dove headfirst into anatomy without being able to first draw. And what is worse is I chose very difficult positions. So I attempted lessons far beyond my skill set, and of course I set myself up for failure. And thus I was swept into this vicious cycle of choosing hard subjects, drawing bad, feeling shit, and drawing worse.
Can you stop it?
And which you can imagine is an incredibly frustrating process. And frustration fucking sucks because it really just stiffens the joints and makes your movements erratic, and it plays tricks on your eyes. And I mean, even though these difficult drawings didn't teach me much in the beginning because it was just too advanced for me to take in anything, it did leave me with my first valuable lesson, which in my second year I'm still struggling with, and it is to be okay with being shit. And it's really difficult that, especially when you feel so behind, and when you're as sensitive as me and as volatile, a shitty drawing can just turn your world upside down. And to make matters worse, I was completely alone, so I had no one to distract me from my emotions, and the frustration sort of hardened and crystallized and compounded and calcified until I was as stiff as a brick. And I was feeling completely stuck, and I was full of feeling, and that is not a nice mix. Being stuck but full of inner rage and emotion sucks. So quite naturally, I eventually took to drink. I started drinking wine. Not a lot, but just enough to loosen up a little bit. I smoked too, but that didn't really help me draw, because back then I had no skill, like zero skill, and trying to smoke and then draw just left me with a page of scratchy nonsense. But the wine really did help. I never drank too much because I fucking hate nausea. And it sort of cleared up some of the stale air, because god fucking damn, that little hole of mine was very stale. Yeah, the other problem of being alone is that I had no outside perspective. So if I do something terrible, I only had me to judge that. So in some rare moment of clarity, I thankfully ceased all these pointless studies, and I decided to draw what I liked and what I fucking adore. I love creatures and I love trees. So not only did these drawings help me fall deeper in love with the natural world, but because these subjects were relatively easy, I didn't blow up as often as I did when I was trying to draw humans and trying to take on anatomy. So even though Canada was desperately miserable, it was profound and necessary. Within the confines of my room, I realigned myself with who I am and what I wanted in life. And so this video is getting a little bit too long, so I'm going to finish it soon. To my side here are my more recent works, and though they are much better than they were, you know, I'm still rather shy. I still think that there is a lot of work to do. That's fine. In recent months, I've been more playful. I've been trying to be more playful with my work and with my life, and I've actually, and this is greatly improving every aspect of my life. I have a big project on the way, and I'm really, really excited about it. In fact, I haven't been so excited and hopeful in so long. So it's curing a lot of that anxiety and depression. Yeah, I plan to continue on with these videos as I want to create some sort of online presence. I want to share my work even though I'm kind of shy, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this, and I hope you took something from this. Yeah. Oh, by the way, my name is Phoebe Emma Aguilar, and please stay tuned. Cheerio.